Hello and welcome to HyzerMedia's coverage of Discmania's 303 Open. We'd like to thank our presenting sponsors of this coverage, Cosmic Disc Golf, D-Town Disc Golf, and Reaper Disc Supply. I'm Nathan Johnson, and today I'm joined in the booth by the world's strongest disc golfer herself, Emily Dale.
On our card today, we have Deann Carey playing for Lone Star Discs. We have my name twin, Emily Yale from Utah. We also have Allison Latsch coming from Colorado. And rounding out our card, we have Alexis Kerman coming in from Missouri.
Should be a super exciting card.
Yes, absolutely. So hole one, par 3, 278. Most of the players are either going to go straight or a big hyzer around the right side of the tree. Fairly open. We do have OB long of the hole and the potential for rollaways on the screen.
Yeah, like you said, pretty far downhill, so player distance control is going to be paramount here. And hopefully you can stick your disc close and not have it roll away down the backside.
For this event, all holes pretty much pathways and across are OB. Anytime you're in the water is OB. We see Deann leaking a little bit to that left-hand side. It looks like she was up on top of that hill, which will make for a tricky putt.
Yep. Scary putt coming up. Next on the tee, we got Emily Yale. That is going to be a little bit confusing with Emily Dale in the booth, but
which was even more confusing.
Yeah, I can imagine. She goes with the big hyzer around the tree, also comes up a bit short. I'm guessing we'll see some layups from the first two competitors because that is going to be a pretty scary putt to run on hole one.
Allison Latch looking like she's going for a turnover route, more the straighter side, but she does hit that big tree in the fairway, which is going to be a tricky approach shot for her.
Yeah, tough up and down. Looks like Alexis, she's also going for the left-hand side. I do like this play to kind of try to land your disc a little flatter on the hill. If you land it with that spike hyzer angle, there's definitely a bigger chance of it rolling away, but she overturns this a little bit.
You can see her grabbing her head. It looks like she's a little concerned, but I think that landed safe for her.
Yeah, nice shot and a nice approach here for Allison. Looking to grab a stress-free par on hole one.
Looks like Emily's looking to lay up, but does push a little bit long. Hopefully it's stuck on that hill. Hopefully inside the circle there, as we see Deann just wanting no part of that.
Yeah, that's a terrifying 40-footer. And as we take a look, Alexis definitely went a little bit long. Just going to be a less stressful approach, though, to just kind of drive the putter into the hill and not have to worry about the distance control on that upshot.
And a scary putt to start for hole one, but Allison leaked off just a little bit on that left side. And we see Emily here looking close to circle's edge for her comebacker for par.
Yeah, definitely leaked a little bit long on that upshot. We'll see if she's able to calm the nerves. Just comes up a bit short, but luckily stays close to the basket. Anytime you draw metal on a slope like this, you're just holding your breath that the disc is going to stay close by.
Exactly.
Just a little high for Deann.
Yeah, and I think there's a lot to come into play. This event is in Colorado, so some of the players are adjusting to that change in how their discs are flying, along with the elevation of this first green. It's definitely some challenges for players.
Yeah, definitely takes some getting used to. All your discs are going to be a little bit more overstable at elevation. Putters are going to fly a little bit differently. So if you're not a local, there's definitely going to be a bit of a learning curve for some of these players. We'll see how they adjust.
Yeah, so it's a tough starting hole for our players, but we're just getting started for a long tournament. So our second hole of the tournament, sponsored by Reaper Disc Supply, is a long one. So it is a par 5, 855 feet. We do have Mando left of all the ball field poles. We have gazebos, the ball field, the paths all come into play with OB. And we do have this unique porta potty that does have a no penalty hazard with that. So we'll see if that comes into play for these players.
This hole definitely playing a lot farther than 855 feet. You can see it goes uphill the whole way. So off the tee, these players are just looking to bite off as much distance as possible. Yeah, just blast it up the hill, basically.
Yeah, exactly.
Really good looking pull there from Deann. She gets a full flight out of the disc, is able to crest the top of that hill. That's going to put her in great position for her next shot.
Loving this large tee pad. Gives a lot of options for your run up.
Yeah, I think James Conrad would approve. Here's Emily now, maybe a little bit low out of the hand, but she does crest the top of the hill, so that'll play.
It looks like she'll have some good footing for her second shot.
Allison puts a good rip on this as well. That's going to get over that path, and we'll see what kind of shot she's looking at from there. So Alexis pulled hers a little bit to the right, and she's still on the hill here, so it's going to be a tough run up. Looks like she put a pretty good move on this, though. Nice full flight. Fades out a little bit down the hill over there on the left, but it's a nice shot.
See Emily at the top of the hill with that nice flat footing as she pushes her second shot into a great position.
Yeah, like we said, first two shots on this hole, just mainly trying to get as much distance as possible, forward progress. Ideally, you'd like to, kind of hug the fence on the right side as this hole does curve back to the right at the end to kind of leave yourself a little less distance on your third shot. But as long as you're progressing far enough up the fairway, you should be in a decent position. Deann, she's done a great job of that in her first two shots, and we'll see what she's looking at to hopefully try to get up there for a birdie putt.
And you can see the elevation that comes into play on this hole, really making it challenging and even longer than it feels like it should be for the distance on it.
Yeah, this is probably playing closer to 1,000 feet with as much uphill as there is on this par 5. This is a nice looking shot. Like I said, hugging the fence, trying to make the distance as short as possible as you go around that corner towards the basket.
And you can see that is the porta potty where there is casual relief, but she does bank off of it. Hopefully that'll give her a look into the basket. It is on the other side of that concrete pad.
Here's Deann's third shot now, looking to go turnover around the outside. That does leak a little bit left and finds that OB car path on the left side of the fairway, unfortunately, though. So that's going to leave her a long putt to save the par, as Alexis finds that same structure that you were talking about. Might give her some issues on the upshot.
Yeah, so the players do not have any penalty with this. It's a hazard with no penalty stroke. So she'll just take that casual relief behind it as we see a great upshot here from Emily, putting her in the circle.
So not too bad a footing here. Just a pretty open upshot, kind of giving it a nice little run there, but able to keep it close. Should be a short par putt. Here's Allison now after the bank shot on her third is going to have a nice simple approach there to hopefully grab her par.
See, Deann had just leaked OB, which takes a challenging tree hit after that. It's hard to get back from that mentally too. So after you have those two challenging pieces back to back, it's hard to take that breath and focus on that next shot. But she does get close, and we see just a little bit high there for Alexis.
Yeah, that's tough break on the par putt for her. Nice par putt for Emily to kind of balance out the scorecard here. But yeah, it's been a bit of a rough start for some of our players. This course is challenging. Like we mentioned, a lot of elevation change, some tricky basket positions is going to make scoring difficult, but also just scoring separation. The birdies are definitely out there, but these players are definitely going to have to execute and make some putts if they want to score.
Absolutely. So hole 3, sponsored by Cosmic Disc Golf, is a little under 400 feet. We do have this OB taller grass marshy area in the middle there. And the leg long is also playing OB as well for the players.
Yeah, you saw the basket in the flyover. That is actually not the basket placement that we were playing to. It was changed a little before the tournament. So it's about 100 feet right of where you saw there. So a lot of these players are going to be aiming out into that field that you saw where Emily's forehand landed.
And you see this is leaking towards that OB area down there. I like the forehand play here to just try to avoid it altogether. We see Allison dropping into that OB marsh.
Yeah, with it being this downhill and closer to 400 feet, you're going to see most of these players reaching for a faster disc, and keeping it right and not leaking out left is very tricky to do. It takes a lot of trust in an understable disc and good control of your angles.
And I know we don't have many leaves on the trees, but we can see the little flags there blowing. So it's important to get that nose angle right, keep the disc down as you're throwing it, as we see Deann come up a little bit short there with her shot.
Yeah, still stayed in bounds. Looks like she kind of got razzed, but I think we'll tell you on hole 4 what happened there. But kind of an unfortunate timing for her.
Mm-hmm. Emily giving herself a longer look for her putt as we see if maybe Allison can save with a throw-in. Give it a scare.
Good bid. Yeah, definitely. Yeah. Alexis looks like she landed well right of the basket, but very safe over here, well far away from that OB area that you talked about. So this is where Deann's upshot landed, maybe 30 feet short of the basket or so. And just a bit off, splashes out. We've seen a couple questionable spit outs from these baskets so far. Hopefully that doesn't become a theme. Here's Emily now. Her par putt sneaks in left side. That's a nice catch from the basket. A little bit of redemption there.
We won't knock them down just yet.
Yeah, still remains to be seen how these baskets are going to perform. That's a nice catch as well. Good par there.
She likes it. Oh, and a little bit of footing challenges. There was a lot of work done to this course in the days prior to the event, so shout out to all of the volunteers who helped with that as we see some of our players cleaning up their bogeys on our hole number 3. Hole 4, sponsored by BS Upshot Tournaments, is a par 3, 323. Players do have to play straight through that gap to get out, which is much narrower. The drone couldn't even fly through it on our drone shot, but they do have OB just below that. So they do have to get out and over that gap to be in play here.
Yeah, definitely a scary gap to hit off the tee. Not very wide at all, but Emily does a great job of that. Peers it right down the middle, gets a little fade on her disc at the end, and that's going to be a nice birdie putt to hopefully get herself back to even par.
Does a beautiful shot.
Ooh, a little kiss from the twig. Keeps Alexis moving forward. That's a nice shot as well. Leaked a little bit left, but she'll have a long birdie putt as well.
This is one of those gaps that can really get in your head as you're on the tee there, as we see Allison unfortunately taking a tree hit and dropping down into that OB creek. So she will go to the drop zone with a penalty stroke.
Yeah, tough break there. Just pulled it a little bit, maybe trying to give it a little bit of extra power, and Deann does the same thing, also landing out of bounds. Tough break for both of those players.
So both proceed to the drop zone. Any subsequent OB on this hole plays normal OB rules. We do still have some of that comes into play as we see the upshots from the drop zone, and this one looks great there from Deann.
Yeah, that'll be nice to salvage her bogey. I'm sure not the start Deann wanted, but still plenty of time to straighten that out. Here's a long birdie bid from Alexis. Just comes up a bit short off the cage.
You can see her laughing. She's such a happy person. People call her Grumpy Shark, but she always has a smile on her face. As we see a nice bid from Emily there. Thankfully, that sticks. Looks like there's some tough footing down there in that grass.
Yeah, a little bit high for her, but and high for Allison as well. Some putting woes for our card.
There you go.
Good cleanup there from Deann, though. We do have to give a shout out. Like I mentioned on the previous hole, there was some yelling in the background while Deann was throwing, and that is because we saw an ace on this hole from Natalie Ryan. Big congrats to her. That is an awesome get.
That is an amazing ace. As we see some conversations on how to clean up there. Everybody on this card was smiling and having a good time. Hole 5, sponsored by On Your Card. So this is a par 4, 425 feet. So the OB line on this hole is closer as you get further up. So it's not just the water line. So we'll be able to see from our spotters if our players are safe or not. But this is a scary hole off the tee.
Yeah, that water can definitely be intimidating as our players are looking to bite off a good bit of distance at only 425 feet for a par 4. This is definitely a reachable hole, but like you said, that danger is definitely there.
And we do have those walking paths on that left-hand side of the fairway as well that are OB. So lots of danger that can be found as we see. Unfortunately, Alexis does throw into the water there, which will take her to the drop zone.
Yeah, just a little too straight. Didn't quite get the fade out at the end that she needed. Let's see if Deann can correct a little bit of a safer line. Oh, but she catches the tree at the end, and that drops her into the water. So she's going to be out of bounds early as well.
She's had a frustrating start to this tournament. Hopefully she can get that focus and play the game that she knows she can play. As we see that Hyzer shot here from Allison as well, pushing her up on the hill, and that should put her in a pretty good position to attack the green for a birdie.
Okay, so it looks like they said Deann did cross where she hit that tree, but that's really not going to help her too much because that was a tough lie that she had to deal with. Alexis with a little bit of a better lie, pretty open shot in towards the basket. That'll leave her a long uphill par look.
And you can see the structure here does make it even more challenging as you're taking your approach. And we get a favorable kick there for Emily. I believe that is the long basket, though, that we're seeing in the image.
So Deann's going to try to take that same line. A little bit trickier angle, though, than Emily just had. And that comes out low and cut rolls out of bounds. Oh, my gosh. Another tough break. Oh, and this shot from Allison just comes out early. That never had a chance. That's going to be out of bounds as well.
And I misspoke. They are going to this basket. It was just look different from the coverage, but you can see her just jump putting up to get under the basket to just finish out this hole. As we see Emily giving it a good run there.
Yeah, that would have been for birdie, so it'll be an easy tap and par for her. Alexis's par putt, unfortunately, does come up short, though. So a wide variety of scores we're going to see on this one. Hole 5 is taking no prisoners.
Yeah, hole 5 is definitely causing some challenges, and it didn't even play as the hardest hole on the course today. So it's definitely, oh man. All right, these baskets are back on the naughty list. That was a little bit to the left side.
Yeah, those nubs were not kind. So we're going to see some scary colors here for as our card taps out.
This is one of those holes you just have to take that deep breath. Remember, you're outside playing disc golf with friends and move on to the next hole.
For sure.
So hole 6, sponsored by Slippery Saucers Disc Golf, is a shorter par 3. It is 233 feet. The lines across the hole 8 and the water are OB, but the path is not OB on this hole. So if a player lands on the path, they would be safe.
Yep, so just big hyzers for our card over those trees, ideally, is what you're looking for. Emily does a nice job of that to give herself a birdie putt. See if Allison can do the same. This comes out a little bit lower, but finds the hillside. That'll work just fine.
And this is that time of year where there's sometimes those sneaky twigs that are hard to see because they don't have the leaves on them. So we see the players navigating that as Alexis does turn that over a little bit, so that'll leave her a longer upshot.
Let's see if Deann can get back on track here after a tough first 5 holes. Gives this some good height. Fades back out at the end. That's a nice looking shot. So it looks like Emily came up actually a bit long and left of the basket, so she's coming back downhill. Just lays that one up, looking to grab a par. Long birdie bid for Allison, unfortunately comes up short. Good effort, though.
You can see Deann just laying up there. Players are just trying to get a par after that last hole. And okay.
Oh, Alexis doesn't want a par. Wow. Yeah, these baskets are definitely on the naughty list. That one caught a lot of metal and didn't stick. That's very disappointing. Good par putt from Emily. The players are just gonna look to tap out some pars here. Not the worst thing. I mean, it's a tricky basket placement, tricky hole for only 233 feet.
You can see him celebrating even the shorter putts now.
Gotta save strokes any way you can out here.
Absolutely. So hole 7, sponsored by Link Disc Golf, is a par 3, 349 feet. We do have the property line on the right-hand side that is OB, as well as the path and beyond on the left-hand side that is OB. So lots of danger on this hole, and it is protected by this stringy bush there in the front.
Yep, so we're going to watch these shots come in now from the bottom of the hill. That first shot is from Deann. Comes up a bit wide, and that's actually going to be OB. Unfortunate break there.
That shot coming in there was from Emily, which looked very good. And it looks like Alexis trickles into that out-of-bound area as we see Allison with her tee shot up here. Coming down with tricky footing with that darn bush.
Yeah, not great. Oh my gosh, and we see that is Deann's upshot. Trickles over the path, and that goes out of bounds as well. There's Alexis, comes up a bit short. She'll have a long putt. Is it a good bid? Just a bit wide, though. Stay short of the OB, though. It's a good break. So this is going to be Deann for 5 now. From mid-circle 2. Gives a good height off the top. Good effort.
But thankfully it sticks. Whenever you hit off the top, when there's OB to be seen everywhere, it's always a moment. But we see a great putt there from Allison to get the first birdie of the card here.
Yeah, took our card a little bit. Nice putt there to get going, but we're starting to see some momentum from some of our players. Emily, she had a great tee shot. It's left with this 10-footer for her birdie as well. She knocks it down. Well done.
Very nice.
Another big number for Deann.
Yeah, a tough start, but still a lot of golf left. So hole 8, sponsored by Double Helix. It is a par 5, 748 feet. So there is the hazard bush on the left-hand side that will take you to the drop zone without penalty. There is an OB line on the right, an OB line on the left, the OB lake as well. So there's a lot going on this hole.
Yeah, only 748, a little downhill for the par 5, but very scary tee shot here as players are looking to just keep this one in bounds. That's great. Great shot there from Emily, just forward progress and not to take any extra strokes.
Just take your straightest disc and try to get up there as we see Allison leaking a little bit to that left-hand side, but does stay in bounds.
Yep, here's Alexis trying to match that line. This is really nice. Just pushing straight. Fades out a bit down that hill, but that's just fine.
Great shot there.
Here's Deann now. Doesn't quite flip this one up as much as she'd like. It's going to leak down the hill a little bit.
Yeah, and I think a lot of this is the players getting used to that elevation that we mentioned in the beginning. That's making discs a little bit more stable than they're used to. It's hard to make that adjustment. So shout out to all the players who made that change, as we see Emily here coming up for her second shot to go around this big group of trees. That should give her a good look headed into the green.
Yeah, now her drive faded way down the hill, so now she's trying to go back up and while also pushing up the fairway. Did a pretty good job of that. Alexis just barely leaked down this hill, so she's got flat footing now, which is a good break. Looking for that just to fade a little bit. It's a nice shot.
A nice shot here from Allison, but you see there's one tree in her way, but she says, not in my way, and does a beautiful flex shot around this large group of trees up here. That should put her in a pretty good position.
Really nice line. Max distance, sky, Annie flex. Really well executed.
Those are always fun to watch.
Yeah, so here's Emily's third. She's looking to go kind of slow. Maybe comes out a little bit early. Gets a skip there off to the left, but that's all safe, so she'll be fine. Hopefully can get up and down for her par.
Yeah, you can see the green here. There's a lot of that hard pan, which is going to send discs flying, as you see Deann using that to her advantage and playing smart here to get up there on the green well within the circle.
Yeah, Alexis, after two good shots, has a short approach here to try to get up and down for the birdie, but unfortunately catches that branch hanging across, kicks her well off to the left. And Allison with the shortest approach of the group. That's what you're supposed to do. Puts it right next to the basket.
Yes. Stress-free for sure.
Good upshot there for Alexis. She'll have a short tap in for her par. Long birdie look for Emily. Just content to lay that one up as well. And now we'll have two short birdie putts coming up. First is going to be Deann from about 12 feet.
Great.
And there it is.
It's a nice bounce back.
Definitely, definitely. Hopefully get some momentum moving in the right direction.
I don't think Alexis trusted that one.
Look it in the whole way. Nice birdie. That's back to back now for Allison. She's moving in the right direction. And Emily still at even par. Very solid round going so far.
Hole 9, sponsored by Elevation, is a par 3, 358 feet. We do have the lake, the ball fields that are both OB, and we have this peninsula green, so that there is a drop zone there for all lake and field shots off the tee.
Got Allison going up.
You can see some construction there. They're doing a lot of work in this park, so there's more obstacles than they might be used to, as we see Allison leaking OB.
Yeah, it's tough to commit to this one. You definitely want to be turning it over a little bit, just like Deann did there. It's a nice shot, clears the water. She'll have a putt. Here's Emily now. A little more height on it.
It's looking good. Hard to see where it landed, but it was tracking well. Stayed in bounds.
Alexis running out the card. That has a good move on it. Maybe a little too much.
Yeah, it looks like that turned over. Hopefully that can go back in bounds there for her.
So Allison, the only one on the card to go OB, so she's left with this circle 2 putt to try to save the par.
Ooh.
Just a bit off. She'll have to settle for bogey there. Couple long par putts coming up. First is Deann. Not worth running, so she'll just lay that one up, take the easy par. Alexis drives turned over a bit to the right, so she'll lay that one up as well. See if Emily can grab the solo birdie on this card from about 35, 40 feet. And it's one of those where you want to run it and then your body just doesn't let you.
Yep, exactly. Some
Hard to
fun
commit
sitting
to.
here as the players are all gonna clean up after their approaches. Allison for bogey, and the rest of our cards should be tapping in for par here.
Yeah, pretty eventful front nine. We saw couple birdies here and there. A lot of OB and bogey strokes, unfortunately, for this card, but that's going to happen on a course like this with a lot of water, a lot of elevation, and it's tough. And don't worry, there's more of that coming up in the back nine, so don't go far and make sure to tune in. We got the back nine of round one of Discmania's 303 Open coming up. Thank you to the Norse gods and our Patreon family for making this coverage possible.
Make sure you like and subscribe, and we'll see you on the back nine.